Hi there guys, and welcome back to the Random Geek channel. So I've posted a video probably several moons ago that I ordered a Tesla Model 3, and here it is. It's finally arrived. To be honest, I've actually had this car for about 3 months now. I've actually tried to shoot this video 3 times, and I had a bit of bad luck. First time I had really bad audio and I couldn't use it. Second time I couldn't salvage the footage and I got hit by a thunderstorm halfway through shooting the video. So third time the charm in this case. So in this video I'm going to try to keep it short. So this is to help people who are thinking about ordering a Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus in Australia. So what you're going to get is the made in China. So this is straight from Tesla Shanghai, and it's going to have the lithium iron phosphate battery. So just a heads up, that's exactly what you're ordering. So this is the base model, and we're going to quickly go through the car and I'll show you exactly what you get if you purchase this car. So this roughly retails in Australia between 68 and 72,000 Australian dollars, including on-road cost. Unfortunately, I did miss out on the the latest test counting cycle. So this car is now $4,000 cheaper than when I got it. So if you're thinking about purchasing this car, definitely get it now while it's hot, because the Australian dollar is holding, but it is slowly dropping. So I'm expecting a price hike to happen eventually, and given the price is increasing in the US, so I think the US has had like 3 or 4 price hikes in the last year or 2. So yeah, definitely get your hands on it if you can get it. So it's been a fantastic car since I've had it. I've only had it for about 3 months, and under 3 months actually, and I've done almost 9,000 kilometers on it. So I do a lot of driving, and this car has worked out perfectly. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and I'll show you exactly. So this video is just going to be about the exterior and interior of the vehicle. So I'm going to walk up to the car here. So this is the base paint color. So this is the pearl white finish, and it's great that you get pearl white as the base because you get an extra coat of paint when ordering the car. So you will get this color if you do order it in any westernized country. So if you're ordering Australia from New Zealand or whatever. In China, the base model is the matte black, but as I said, like, you get this pearl finish when you order it. It is nice, and I cannot fault the build quality of this car from Shanghai. The anecdotal evidence at the moment is the build quality from Shanghai is slightly better than Fremont at the moment. And when I purchased the car, I went through it with a fine comb. Pretty much I had a checklist and everything, and I went through it, and panel gaps are absolutely perfect on this car. I could not fault any of the panel gaps at all, so they're even all the way through the car. So it's nice to see that they're keeping standards up in Shanghai. So just a heads up, you will only get the made in China model if you order the Standard Range Plus. If you're ordering the long range and the performance, they will still come from Fremont, because you will get the NCA batteries instead. But what I love about this car is it absolutely looks sick. It looks like a beast, like a cat ready to pounce, literally. All the curves in the car, I love the lines. It is absolutely fantastic. And as you can see, full panoramic glass on top. The top is ultraviolet and infrared on the top, so it will keep the heat out of the car, especially if you're driving in Australia. That's going to be very, very important. So obviously 2021 car, so this is the 2021 model refresh, so you are going to get the chrome delete, so no chrome whatsoever. I find that fantastic, because I found that the chrome was a bit gaudy in the original cars. I don't like chrome, and I'm glad that they've actually got rid of it, so no chrome whatsoever, matte black all the way. So here and here on the camera, it used to have a Tesla logo there, but they've actually gotten rid of that. But yeah, matte black all the way. In the front, so those nice slopes all the way up the front. These are brand new refreshed headlights as well. These occurred indeed late model 2020 Tesla Model 3s, and they've ported that over in Shanghai as well. Go through here. So chrome finish, no, well, lack of chrome, so chrome delete all the way around. And sorry about the noise. Yeah, there's a couple of people floating around while I'm filming, but that's okay. So in terms of tires, you are gonna get Michelin Pilot Sport Force. So this is the average 18-inch wheel that you do get. These are fantastic tires. So these are the for 235, 45s, 18s, rated for 3 tons and maximum of 300 kilometers on there. Obviously no air suspension since this is the Model 3, but then again, like, you won't have those issues with air suspension, and they're a bit tricky to fix if you do have issues. Spring, a bit more reliable. They're a bit firm though, so they're okay on the Australian roads, but I'm not complaining. The ride quality has been a bit firm, but yeah, the performance of this car is absolutely amazing. Even at the base model, it is going to outrun most vehicles. So 0 to 100 in 5.6 seconds, which is going to beat a majority of the cars on the road, and unassumingly beat a whole bunch of cars on the road. And I'm been a bit surprised when I'm just driving normally and I'm leaving a bunch of cars behind. But with these tyres here, obviously Australian conditions where we have really mild winters and the summers are quite hot. This car is 1.84 tons, so we'll see how these tyres hold up. I have read online that the tyres can wear out pretty quickly, but we shall see. In terms of the brakes, just your standard test brakes, so you don't get those fancy red brakes when you order the performance model. But then again, performance model is a lot more expensive in Australia. Anyway, so we're just going to go around. So as you can see, also with the car, you get cameras galore. So side cameras there, cameras pointing to the rear. So this is for obviously autopilot, full self-driving, and when you're like reversing and stuff, and also for Sentry mode. You've also got 3 cameras up the front here, so 1, 2, 3, and a rain sensor. And the car has a whole bunch of ultrasonic sensors around the car, so 1 in there and a couple in the front fascia. So the front fascia, I do like it, but it is a bug magnet. Since I live in a rural area of Queensland, when I'm driving into the city or even at night, bugs plaster this stuff like crazy, and I do have to wash the car more often, and given it's a white car, you will see it. Also behind that is where the radar would sit, but obviously with the recent announcement, Tesla is going to visual only, autopilot and full self-driving. I have my doubts about that because I do have issues with autopilot, and especially with the cameras, but I'll leave that for another video. Okay, so I'm at the back of the car. As you can see, the nice slope of the car. The infrared and ultraviolet coating only goes up to about here. Then you've got your heated lines for when you've got like when your windows are fogging up, or if you're in a nice area and frost is built up, you can turn that on. You will notice that because it's a slope, and also there is no rear window screen wiper. This is a big bugbear. You will see it on other cars as well, so you will see it on Mercs and Audis and stuff. I don't like it. That's because, especially when you're driving in the wet, the rain will actually build up here. It's okay when you're driving fast and rain will shear off, but if you're driving in the city or driving at slower speeds, or you're driving against the rain, a lot of water will actually build up here and throughout that window wiper, and the angle of the roof, visibility is pretty poor. So I wish to have implemented at least a rear window wiper. And also if you're driving out in the bush, dirt will build up along here, and visibility is one of my biggest bugbears about this car, but we'll talk about that later. Alright, so the next thing that we're going to do is I'm going to open up the front boot and we're going to have a look. Okay, so this is the front boot, you know, front trunk, whatever you want to call it, depending on where you're in the world. If you can probably hear, that's actually the heat pump going off. So obviously the refresh of the 2021 model, like you've got all the advancements that came from the Model Y over, and one of those things is the heat pump. So you will notice that there has been some changes to the front storage area. One of the nice things about not having a front engine is you will get a front boot. However, you will see that my mat doesn't exactly fit, and that's because when you order the baseline standards range plus, it doesn't come with floor mats. So that only comes with the full premium package, and you only get the partial premium package when you order the baseline model. And obviously I thought I was going to be smart and want to order my own floor mats. Unfortunately, I did order the ones for the 2018, like the early models, and obviously this has the heat pump. The heat pump does take a bit of space up the front, so what Tesla has done is reduce the size of the front trunk. And unfortunately, I've ordered the floor mats for a prior model, and it doesn't fit. So it's roughly about an inch too large in this case. But I don't really mind, because I'm only really using this to, if any moisture gets into the car, or if anything messy, or if I throw my gym shoes and everything, it's not going to dirty the vehicle. Underneath is just your standard floor mat from Tesla. And you've got your tow hitch up the front, and yes, Tesla born knows exactly what it is. In terms of these areas here, there needs to be shopping bag hooks, but those are now gone. So you do get a smaller space in the front. Also, this plastic cover is slightly larger than the prior models. You can probably hear the heat pump. It's going crazy because it is getting quite hot. If you see a bit of water, it was raining just before, but the sun's come out and it's slowly drying up. So if you see a bit of water in the car, that's what's causing it. But in terms of that, it's pretty much basically the same. And obviously you have your emergency little button there if you ever get trapped in the trunk. I don't know why you would, but it's there. I think it's a carryover from an American thing. But there you go. In terms of the fluids, the only thing you'll be really flowing is your washer fluid in that case, and you've also got this little badge here for the fire brigade in case you're in an accident and they need to cut the wires from the 12 volt battery and the high voltage disconnect. So underneath there is obviously like your 12 volt battery, and if you need the service things in the car, but that's all there really is. Also notice that it's no automatic liftgate front. It's just your standard car, so you close it as per normal, and you can open this up via the app, but you just be careful when you're closing it. You do need to put pressure on both sides of this hook to actually hitch up to that point there. Anyway, so I'm going to close that up and we're going to head to the back and I'll show you what's in the back. Okay, so this is the boot of the car. Obviously this is not a hatchback, it's a sedan, so the opening is a bit compromised. So this is, I think, 46 centimeters from here to here, and roughly about a meter 20, I believe, in the opening, or slightly bigger. Also from the Model Y, you've also got a motorized liftgate, so it will automatically open once you press the button. But you do close it with this button here at the top. And with that button, you could also readjust the height of the liftgate. So if you've got a lower opening or a lower heighted garage, what you can do is manually set the height, then press that button and it will make a beeping sound and it will reset the height of the car, and once you finish, you press that button and it will close the boot. Besides that, I am surprised on how big the boot is. So I just had a feeling that it wasn't going to be as big as it was going to be, given the fact that I do prefer the hatchback opening, and one of the reasons why everyone buys like an SUV these days is the space, and you can fit a lot at the back. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. This boot is a lot bigger than I expected. So it is, I think it's 450 litres, I believe. But yeah, you can fit 2 large suitcases in there. And remember, you do have this false floor at the bottom as well. So I'm showing the back because this is one area that some manufacturers will try to hide their fault when they're building vehicles. So just like poor build quality and stuff, and you'll see like bad seams and stuff, and bolts that aren't installed correctly. But as you can see, the workmanship is absolutely fantastic. I was like, I even climbed in and I have a look to see how everything looked, and yeah, I couldn't find anything wrong with it. In terms of the floor basing, like it's covered in this Alcantara all the way at the back. In terms of lighting, you've only got 2 LED lights here. They do an okay job, but I wish there was a bit more lighting. Good news there is there's an auxiliary power cable there, so what I'm going to do is I might pull that out of the housing and install my own LED strip later on, and just to improve the lighting, probably just run it along here maybe. But yeah, charge cable, obviously this does not come with the car. I'm going to do another review in this cable, let's just say another type 2 cable when I'm on road trips. And this is your basic charge cable set that you get from Tesla. So it comes in like a nice bag. It's Velcro on the bottom, so it doesn't slide around because it sticks to the Alcantara. So you get your standard UMC charger. So this is your slow charger. Great thing about Australia, because we start at 240 volts and we either charge at 10 or 15 amps. We start off at a relatively high slow charging rate anyway. And what you do get in the bag, if I can find the zip, it's on the side. You stick your standard UMC and you get a 10 amp and 15 amp charging cable, and it's quite long. I think it's about 6-7 meters, and it's, yeah, and in terms of so you get straight out of the bat, you get 2.4 kilowatts of charging. That's enough for most people who are plugging overnight. So you drive home, plug it in, and wake in the morning, you get a full charge every single day. So absolutely fantastic. But my mind is, you get as many charging cables as you can afford, especially in Australia, which the charging infrastructure isn't as good. And like you're going to need, especially if you do enough road trips as I do. Anyway, so we're going to open the floor, but also remember that this boot does open up. Those seats do come down, and it's relatively flat on a slight angle, but relatively flat. And you've got massive storage space. So obviously 60-40 split in this case, and when you stand it out, so I think across here is about 1.3 meters, and you get about 2 meters from here. So if you ever need to head to the hardware store or do an IKEA run, you are going to fit a lot of things in this vehicle. Also remember that you've also got this false floor, so it's a very deep false floor. So I think this is an extra 78 or 80 liters. So this isn't enough to fit like a small suitcase or a pretty decent sized esky in the vehicle. Also, Tesla's really nice, and they give you a pretty awesome first aid kit here. So this is a really decent kit. Like, you get scissors, you get all sorts of bandages and tourniquets and witches and high vis vest, everything. Great that they throw in it. It's an extra bonus. I probably reckon this is a first aid kit. It's probably worth about 150 bucks, I believe. So like, you don't know when you're out on the road that you're going to need something like a first aid kit, especially if you maybe you run along a cyclist, or you're in like a car accident yourself and you're not sure when you need to use a first aid kit. And for a person who It has used first aid kits in the past. This is a fantastic first aid kit, so it's a nice little bonus there from Tesla. Also in storage, you got a bit of storage here, and you will notice this cable here. So this is your emergency release cable for the charging point. So for example, if you're at a public charger and your DV charging cable won't unlock from the car, so all you really do is you pull this cable and plug it at the same time, and they'll release the cable. But you only really need to use that in an emergency. But it has happened a couple of times, and that's a nice little backup feature there. And that's pretty much it for the boot. So what we're going to do is I'm going to head inside the car and we'll show you exactly what it's like in the vehicle. Okay, so we're at the back of the Tesla now, and as you can see, matte black everything. So if you're really into matte black like I am, this is going to be perfect. Remember, the interior, you can order it in the white interior as well, or you will also get some matte black highlights even if you order the white. But I think this looks absolutely sick. So in terms of the car, so this is vegan leather, they call it. It's basically a synthetic leather, whatever you want to call it, but it does feel really nice to the touch, and these seats are really comfortable. I can't stress you how comfortable it is, especially for someone who drives as much as I do. So the headrests don't come out though, so they're integrated into the vehicle, but that's not too much of a hassle. There's a lot of space at the back, so I've had family members who are above 6 foot, so 6 foot 6'2", and heaps of plenty of space on the back here. I thought I was going to have an issue, but no, it seems to work out, particularly in Australia. We're a bit larger than normal. So as you can see, that panoramic glass at the front, at the top, is absolutely the stunning thing here. How well that will hold against hailstones in Australia is another thing, because we do get a lot of thunderstorms during summer, but I do not tend to park this car outside anyway. But it doesn't matter what car you have in Australia, if you're going to hit by a thunderstorm with large hailstones, it's going to cause damage. But especially if you're like a back passenger and you can stare up at the top, and it just absolutely looks fantastic. So in terms of leg space, you do get quite decent leg space. So obviously a flat floor because it's a skateboard design, and you do get a lot of space. So when you're sitting in the vehicle, plenty of leg room, and you can slot like your feet underneath here. So these are the floor mats that I got online. Obviously, if you've ordered the premium material, like you will get floor mats, but remember the premium material is an extra $1,500 on top, and I thought that the only thing you're really getting with the premium material was floor mats and a bit of extra lighting inside, and you do get the heated seats, which are already in this standard car already. So you back heated seats, but they're not activated, so they're an extra $500 purchase inside the app. But the hardware is there, so if you do even change your mind, like you can get that activated. But yeah, I was like, saves you the money, and inside if you really want that feature or not. Also back seats is, so you got door pockets on the back seats and on both the driver and the passenger seat. A lot of cars don't tend to have that at all, and the great thing is, besides the plastic around the rim of the car here, everything is covered in this vegan leather, and it feels absolutely fantastic to the touch. Alright, so the back of the console, you've got your standard climate controls here. Well, just climate here, and you've got two USB Type-C ports. So these are fast charging USB Type-C. So if you've got a phone that's capable of fast charging, that's going to work. Or if you've got like a child who's playing on the Switch or whatever, you can plug them there and it will keep it charged. Also on the bottom there, I will focus on the bottom here, if you can see. So that port, that little plastic port there, you can pull it out if you want to plug in an OBD. There is two OBD ports in this car, so one under that port there, and one under the on the passenger side in the front. However, that one's not activated. I think that's a Tesla specific only, and only if you're a Tesla technician, but you'll be able to access that. But if you want to access information about the car and the battery, and you've got a spare OBD, but you do need a spare cable, you can pry that open and plug it in there. Okay, so I'm just on the other side of the car just to show you what it looks on the other side, and also a bit of extra lighting. You will see there's a speaker there, and there's a couple of speakers at the back. There's a hook to attach a child seat, and also under the seats here you'll see white hooks here. So if you've got a baby seat or child seat, you can plug that in and your child will be safe. Also, drink holders here and here. No slot for if you've got skis or whatever, or snowboarding or whatever, or if you've got a bit of plywood and you need to put it through a hole, that's not going to happen, but you can bring these seats down. But nice drink holder here, and it fits here. It's good that they've added side pockets, because in the Tesla, the early Model S's, I think the X, they didn't have side pockets, but now they've added on all doors, so you've got plenty of space and storage here. So auto vegan leather touch side doors, vegan leather, all soft materials. I was really surprised with the build quality. So it's not going to match your high-end premium vehicle, but it was a lot better than I was expecting. And they've got that upgraded button to make sure that people know how to open the door, because that wasn't labeled in the original Model 3s. Speaker grill here. Alright, so there you have it. So that's the back of the car, and we're going to move to the front. And before I forget, on the side doors, you can adjust the height of the seatbelt on the side here. Anyway, just let's hop onto the front. Okay, so I'm in the driver's seat of the vehicle, and these are the brake and accelerator pedals. They're obviously plastic, and you don't get the metal finish unless you order the Performance Model 3. But there you have it. Driving an EV, you're not going to use that brake pedal very often. I have dramatically reduced how much I press the brake pedal, but I do tend to brake at least once or twice every drive, just to make sure that I am slightly using the brake pads so they don't rust over time. Because if you just leave brake pads and you don't really use it, like stuff will get in it, water will get into it, and you do have issues later on. So just make sure that even though you may not use the brake pedal as often, that you do use it occasionally, just to make sure that the car is functioning properly. And it's rather unusual that the actual fact is I probably won't replace my brake pads as long as I own this vehicle. And it's given the fact that regenerative braking, once you get used to it, you can't go back to driving like normal. And it does confuse me sometimes when I use my other car and I have to pump the brake pedal, and it's weird. Anyway, so moving to the steering wheel. So this is what the car looks like. So big Tesla logo here. Like everything else, everything is covered in this vegan leather. It feels really nice to the touch. So you don't get a heated steering wheel with the standard range Model Plus, so you only get that in the long range and the performance models. But the hardware is actually in the steering wheel already. So I'm guessing that this is going to be a software unlock eventually. I do use the heated seats because it is in the middle of winter and it can get quite cold, especially when you're driving at night or early in the morning, which I tend to do a lot. But yeah, it's fantastic. The wheel is relatively large, feels nice in the hand, and as I said, all this nice soft touch material. So in terms of the driving stalks, you only get 2 driving stalks. So this is the gear selector here, so gear selector for, you know, your reverse, neutral, drive, autopilot, well, cruise controls, autopilot when you double press that to activate your full self-driving, and you get your park button here that you can press to when you about to leave the car. It's equivalent to your parking brake. On the left hand side, you've got your other gear, your other shaft. and that's pretty much your indicators, your wiper fluid to activate the wipers. So you just press once to activate the wipers, and then a menu pops up on screen and you switch it off. And obviously pulling in and back will activate your high beam lights. So the other thing that you will notice is the lack of buttons, but what you do get is these two scroll wheels here. So if you've used a gaming mouse before, you will be very familiar about how these work. So they click in, you can roll up and down, and you can move it left and right. So these have been updated from the previous models. So they used to be plastic, they are now metal, so they will last a lot longer. These kind of remind me of the Logitech MX Masters. So if you've used those mice before, it's high quality metal. It feels really nice, and these are context sensitive depending on which menu you're in. So for example, if you're driving, you move this back up in front, it will change the distance between vehicles when you are driving in cruise control mode. And here, if you're driving and you've got music controls or whatever, like you can skip off, to move back to songs, and you can change the volume. So context sensitive. It does get a bit time to get used to it, and you will once you have that muscle memory and you have the menus memorized, it becomes very intuitive in terms of use. But that's when we come to this gigantic screen here. But before we move on to the screen, I'm just gonna pan around, and you will see that this car is absolutely, it's very minimalistic. So in a normal ICE car, you would have buttons and switches and knobs everywhere, but everything that you need to do with this car is on the screen. And so this is a positive thing and also a negative thing. One thing is I like the look of this, of not having like everything all over the console, and particularly when you're driving like an ICE car, there's knobs and buttons that you almost never touch, or touch once when you first purchase the vehicle, and that's about it. And the actual fact that they've removed all of that and that everything's on the touchscreen is fantastic. However, they have to remove things that I reckon that should have had physical knobs as well. So things like opening the passenger side storage box here. There should have been a physical latch on there. Like, don't tell me that this is more like you can't even shut it. So if you're already like closing it manually, to give the driver or the passenger the option to open it manually, like, okay, that's not easier or more convenient, especially when you're driving it and you could like press that button to open that menu to open the box. Also things like climate control. Like you can turn on like climate control here. Okay, so I've just turned on the climate control because it is a bit hot at the moment because I'm sitting in the sun. Yeah, where was I? Yeah, I was talking about things like controls not being like physical. Things like climate control, like sometimes, like when you're driving an ICE car, you know exactly where that knob is, like without even looking at it. You can use the tactile feel and you can go, okay, left knob, turn it on, climate control. Yep. The actual fact that everything's on the screen is a plus and a minus, and given the fact that Tesla was a software company, like before they were a car manufacturer, and they just happened to make an electric vehicle. Yeah, software is a thing, but in terms of the menus, it is not the best of menus. I know other cars give you the option to use, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I wish Tesla had that option in which you can switch between which interface that you would like to use. But obviously, being Tesla's like Apple. Once you're in their ecosystem, you're pretty much in their ecosystem. But I won't go too much about the menus in this video here. I would leave it for another video because there is a lot to actually talk about in terms of operating the car. But I will talk about the screen because it's part of the interior. So the interior, the screen is a 15-inch screen. So this is a gigantic screen, especially if you compare it to other cars. It's full HD, LCD screen, not OLED. I understand why they went that path, and that's because obviously you are gonna. It's cheaper for Tesla to use a. I'll turn it off now actually. So it's a bit cool enough. So yeah, so make sure that the audio isn't too bad when I'm filming this, but I understand why they want LCD. LCDs are cheaper to put in. Also, they last a bit longer than OLEDs because obviously you're not using the organic substrates in the screen, and particularly if it's got screen with things that are going to be on screen for quite a while, you want to not have burning on the screen. So I can understand why they went that path. Also, these screens were specifically made and ordered by Tesla, and that's because these screens do have to deal with high temperatures and low temperatures as well, particularly because people all around the world are going to be driving these vehicles, and cars can get quite hot, so the screens do have to survive in hot temperature climates. It is a bit weird at first having the screen in the center, but I've driven cars that have had the information in the center. I think one of the early Toyota Yaris's that I owned like years and years ago, it had like a dashboard in the middle. But yeah, what information? Obviously, this is a right-hand drive car, particularly in Australia. We drive right-hand, like Japan, like the UK. We're a bit different for everyone around the world, but yeah, having all the information on the right, they get a bit used to it, but you do get used to it quite quickly. Also, because you don't have a front console in the front, this bit here is actually lower than normal, and what you do get is this massive and amazing visual. Yeah. So you can see everything when you drive in this car, and because the front hood slopes now, your vision is not impaired whatsoever. So when you drive in a car, you can it's great. Also, you will notice up the front, and I haven't stressed how amazing the sound is in this vehicle. And the reason why this car has amazing sound is if you look underneath the screen here, that is a full sound bar. So, you know, for those people who have like modern TVs, like, you know, but modern TVs, the image quality is fantastic. The sound quality of most TVs suck, and most people will get a soundbar, and you will notice how good a soundbar will improve the audio in a Ford TV. So what they've actually done is they've inserted a full soundbar in the front of the car, and given the sloping roof and the small and in a small environment, that sound's going to bounce all around the car, and it still sounds absolutely fantastic. So, and as I just said, like you've got speakers, like you've got a speaker there, you've got a speaker in the corner right next to the side mirrors as well, and this full soundbar here. And playing music on it is an absolute joy. So I listen to music, I listen to podcasts while driving around, and I cannot fault. I don't know why other cars have, or other brands have not taken this idea and run with it, but heads up for Tesla for implementing that. So you've got speaker there, speaker up top here, and speaker on the side of the doors as well. And those speakers on the side door have been refreshed from the prior models. So soft touch material as well. So once again, that vegan leather, really nice. You will see this little slot that runs all the way along the car here, and that's pretty much, and that's the AC system. So this is the blade style system. Once again, another idea, but I don't know why other manufacturers have not stolen. It is absolutely fantastic because you can alter the climate in this car because you can direct the airflow in any direction that you like. So you can like divide the airflow. You can put it in one direction, in another direction you can turn one side off if you wish. And the climate control is fantastic, and also because it's using the heat pump, so it's very efficient as well. Okay, so up top you've got your rear view mirror. The rear view mirror is quite small, and as I said, the visibility in this car is quite poor, and one of the things that I wish that they will improve in a future model. So also the side mirrors are tiny, so more often than not I would turn on the cameras when I'm driving just to make sure that I can see things, and especially when it's raining, you aren't going to see much. So in that rear view mirror, and because of the sloping roof and the UV and ultraviolet tint on the roof, it can get rather hairy, especially when you're driving in poor weather, and particularly when you're driving in the storm. Also, these windows have this coating on it, and it will electronically dim the image when you're driving, particularly at night. So because everyone drives with LED lights these days, particularly if you have a car behind you or multiple cars behind you and they're shining in your rear view mirror, you can't see. So what it does is it will automatically dim the image so you don't get blinded. However, sometimes I think it pushes it a bit too much, and it makes the image quite poor. And yeah, so I know that this car has a whole bunch of safety features, but it can get a bit hairy, particularly when you're driving around. And as I said, so that's the rear view mirror, or whatnot, the rear view there. But when that's covered in rain, you can't see SWAT. So it's one of the bugbears, one of the biggest issues I have with this car. So it's not fantastic. Okay, so back at the front, and just under the rear view mirror, that's where your hazard light is. So if you're ever into trouble or you need to pull over, you can press the button there. It's interesting how that's up top here. Also, you have your LED lights that you can turn on and off by just pressing the button here. Also, you will see right above the rear view mirror is the final camera. So this is supposed to be activated when the robo-taxi service does launch, or if it ever does. However, you know, Tesla has admitted that they do use that camera to monitor if the driver is paying attention. So if you're a bit worried about, you know, that your privacy in the vehicle, to maybe like tape that over or something. But you know, if Elon wants to stand and my mug, he's more than happy to. I'm not doing anything in my car except driving. But anyway, just a heads up that final camera is there. Also, with the sun shield, it's magnetic there, and you do have windows, and it has its own lighting, so nice touch there. Also, pulling it off, it does extend, so that is a nice touch, but it does not fold up extra, so if you wanted extra shade, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, so what else can we speak about the car? Okay, we're going to talk about the updated console. So I love it that they've updated this bit here. So center console used to be that shiny piano black, horrible stuff. Anything that's piano black, I turn a blind, well, I turn away pretty much. That's because it looks nice at first, especially when it's clean and it's shiny, but as soon as you get fingerprints on it, and even if you stare at it, it's going to scratch like nothing, and it looks horrible after a while. So I've liked it that they've extended it out to the vegan leather on this here, and also you've got Alcantara, so this is your wireless charging here. I like it how it's on this angle here, so if you've got your phone and you place it on there, if you get a notification, you can see like what notifications are popping up without interfering. Like, you don't have to touch your phone, because it's illegal to actually drive and touch your phone in Australia. But yeah, just have it there and it's charging, and you can see notifications, and it's not going to distract you while you're driving. Also, wireless charging, that's decent. I think they're 10-watt chargers, so not absolutely, so not fantastic, but I see wireless charging as a top-up charge when you're driving. If you really want to charge it normally, but it's nice to have it there, and you pop your phone on and you get an extra bit of charge while driving. But I do like the placement in there. So this wasn't a feature in the older Model 3s, but this is now standard now. In terms of storage, so they've taken away that that touch compartment which you had to tap and it'll flip open and stuff, and had a magnetic latch to it. That's gone. Now you've just got a compartment which you've pulled up, and if you need to close, you just do that. But all matte finished. The only bit of chrome that you'll see in the car is there. So storage wise, it's pretty decent. It's pretty deep. So, and you get a bit of like lighting as well, so you can see what you're doing. You get 2 extra USB ports there, if you can see in the camera. And these do fast charging as well, so a bit of extra thing here. Cup holders on the side. Center armrest, vegan leather again. Open it up. What have we got there? I've got a whole bunch of face masks. Obviously, we're still in a pandemic. You don't know when you will need a face mask, but especially with the rolling lockdowns in Australia, we do tend to have a lockdown every now and then. So it's great that, yeah, you have a mask ready to go. Also on the side, if you see that, that's the 12-volt auxiliary power port. So if you need extra bit of a juice, or if you're running an air compressor or whatnot, that's where it's located. So just to close that there. So what else can I talk about? Okay, so you will see that wood paneling to go across from the side doors all the way across the vehicle. So this only occurs in the Model 3s from Shanghai, China. So at the moment, it's only the China factories that are doing it. But yeah, I believe that it's coming to the Fremont factory, and you will see it in the cars. First thing with Tesla is they do small changes throughout the vehicle, and it's normally hundreds of small changes throughout over time. So pretty much, if you buy a car now, it's going to be different 6 months down the track, and it's normally not physical things that you can see. It's obviously under the hood and changes in their engineering. And that's the things about these cars. These cars will get better over time, and it's particularly with the software updates as well. But besides from that, that's the interior of the Model 3. Also, the passenger and driver's seat side do have electronic controls for lumbar and forward and front support. Alright, besides from that, that's all I'm really going to talk about the interior of the Model 3. I will be making a lot more videos about this car, particularly how it drives. I'll probably talk about the brand new battery. Yeah, I'll be posting like a lot of videos. This is to help people who are thinking about ordering like a Model 3, or thinking about like ordering like an EV or moving over to EV. It's not specifically going to be about Tesla. I will talk about a lot more things, but yeah, so just look forward to brand new updates. I do apologize that this video was very long in coming. I don't do YouTube as a full-time. It's just a spare hobby that I do. I do work like crazy hours at work, and I don't have a lot of spare time, but I will post more videos on this. Also guys, so if you made it this far, I think you've found it. Hopefully you found like this is helpful. So if you want, do all those good things, like, comment and subscribe. Good news, I finally hit 100 subscribers. So for all those people here who have subscribed, and it's been a long time coming, but yeah, thanks guys, you guys have been fantastic. I love seeing the actual comments, and people on the comment section have been mostly actually positive, and they've been willing to help fellow like viewers about questions that they may have on videos that I post, and I find that absolutely fantastic. Obviously, I'm growing a small little community of like-minded individuals like myself who just love technology. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Random Geek out. Cheers.